They're going to be homeless, living under a bridge because machines and robots will be doing everything.
Basic level jobs, there's jobs AI will transform, jobs that AI can't possibly touch.
If it's monotonous and it doesn't require having much brain cells,
But I feel like in this day and age, there's no room for basic.
and I'm sure you know what Waymo is, the new form of transportation.
There's jobs that AI cannot replace.
They are going to be pushed to the side. Now I can fast forward all the way from the Industrial Revolution all the way to the computer. And there's about 8 points of technology advancing so far ahead of the generation that came before it that it freaked everyone out. And guess what? If you look up the headlines from all those generations prior, it's the same exact language. It's people being in fear that they are going to be pushed to the side. They're going to be homeless, living under a bridge because machines and robots will be doing everything. Yes, a version of that is true. But if you're not educated enough on the subject, which I don't say Rich and I are like the biggest experts, our expertise is helping young men. I just want to get them away from that feeling and that thought process of knowing or feeling that they are the most replaceable generation ever. That's such an intense way to look at this shit. I respect it. I respect that there's fear there, but I do want them to know that they can easily pivot and adjust for what's to come, like people that have adjusted and pivoted the 200 years that preceded them.
I'm glad that you mentioned that context of like the Industrial Revolution and sort of that transition when the assembly line came in, and that's how we got cars and everything. Back in the day, what that did was it automated monotonous jobs, right? Things that could be repeatable. And that's exactly what's happening today with AI and sort of like the digital revolution. I bucket this in three phases, right? I think phase one, there are jobs that AI will replace, no doubt about it. I think there's jobs that AI will transform. There's jobs that AI cannot replace. And I actually have a quick list just that I could read off.
Yeah, please.
So jobs that AI will replace is basic fundamental jobs like data entry, basic level 1 customer support, basic coding, routine legal contract reviews, low skill editing, right? Software out there like Opus Clips, you know what I mean? Where you just feed it a couple clips and it outputs a bunch of videos for you. Though jobs that AI will transform is jobs like that I'm working in, like cybersecurity, software engineers, right? Teachers, right? A teacher, an AI teacher can sort of help be your coach, but if you're facing a bully, you know what I mean? Like an AI is not gonna teach you how to combat a bully. There's only the human element of a physical teacher can help you do that. And even in marketing, right? I think AI will transform marketing. It'll help make marketers better with giving them data insights, more data insights into, different marketing campaigns for them to leverage. Jobs that AI can't replace, I feel like is all physical manual labor. AI can't do plumbing. AI can't be an electrician. Like if you do HVAC, if you do any sort of like trade job, your job is safe, right? So I think it's important to understand the difference. There's basic level jobs, there's jobs AI will transform, and there's jobs that AI can't possibly touch because there's no on-ramp for that type of transition. I say all that to say, it sounds harsh, but I feel like in this day and age, there's no room for basic. You can't just go out and say, I'm gonna be an accountant, right? Like, or I'm gonna be a legal assistant. Like all these like lower level jobs, AI can do very, very well. So I think we're at a point in time in society where you need to learn a skill and a trade, and you need to be the best in that field, right? Because anything basic will be replaced by AI.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that. And I do want to share a story that happened to me last week. It had to do with Waymo. And I'm sure you know what Waymo is. In LA and in San Francisco and a lot of major cities, it is the new form of transportation. And it is quickly either replacing or cutting away a lot of jobs from Uber drivers. And eventually it's going to be a form of transporting goods. And when you want to go places, you can just put something in a box and just send that shit in a Waymo. This is inevitable. Why would a corporation pay an Uber driver when it can just have an automated vehicle that has pattern matched the same 20 block radius, 20-mile radius, and it's not going to go outside of that radius, and it can go from point A to point B. I know that sounds insensitive, and Rich and I are businessmen, so there is like this detached from human sympathy angle we got going on here, but we're not fucking savage beasts. We just understand the truth that is evolution. If you do not adapt, you will die. The same way that's for human nature, it's the same way it is for business. No one's gonna sit around and wait for something to fix itself when something out there already has improved your market. I have two stories in mind that literally happened in the same 1 hour window. One was, it was raining in LA for the first time like all year, and it was raining for 5 days straight. If you've never lived in LA, you have to understand, LA doesn't do rain very well because the city's not designed for it and the people are not fucking designed for it. So I call an Uber because that's more impulsive for me. I always call an Uber instead of a Waymo, but I have changed that after this story. Uber driver pulls up. He's 3 blocks away from me. I keep texting him, hey, I'm on the other side of this unit that I live in. He's arguing with me over text. I cancel. I call another Uber. I get the same guy. He pulls up. He finally finds where I'm at. I get in the Uber. This dude is basically talking shit because I canceled his ride and I rebooked it. He was like, oh, bet you didn't think you're gonna see me again. He was like, yeah, man, that's the shit with people these days. Like they're not patient. He's giving me consejo, like giving me life advice while I'm in his Uber. So I'm already tight because I'm late to the DMV because I'm trying to get a real ID because I'm traveling for the holidays. Anyway, I have that episode. The minute I get out of the Uber, the dude was like, he didn't say nothing. I didn't say nothing. I just walk out. I get to the DMV. I'm missing one piece of paperwork. The DMV clerk, first of all, I waited an hour when I had an appointment. Get to the DMV clerk. This dude is literally not looking to help me in any way possible. I could tell he had a shit day and I'm going back and forth with him. And he's like, you're missing a main document. I said, okay, I just handed you a folder with 20 pieces of information. What am I missing? He was like, that's not my job to tell you what you're missing. You should have read the information that was emailed to you. Back to back, Uber driver that didn't want his job and DMV clerk that is in a business that has zero competition that didn't want his job either. Point being, I went back home in a Waymo and I couldn't help but to think to myself, I cannot wait until that Uber driver finds what he really wants to do with his life because it's definitely not driving cars. And I cannot wait until somebody fucking replaces the DMV with an automation process that can be simplified, because that guy that was sitting at that front desk had a shitty day and I empathize with him because we all have those. But he didn't grow up wanting to be a DMV clerk either. And I believe in my heart of all hearts, being positive about automation and bringing this back to young men that feel this base fear about the job market is that what you just said, Rich. Hopefully, automation and AI get rid of all the jobs that literally nobody wants to do anyway. And hopefully it allows to give you the freedom and the baseline information that you have on your phone now, endless information to go and discover what it is that speaks to your spirit and is employable and can make you some money. I wish everyone can be highly engaged with what they do for a living and how they make money, or be excited about what they do and how they make. I know that's utopian and it's not me living in a reality, but you know what also is not living in a reality? Punching in every day, doing a job that you absolutely fucking despise. Automation is gonna take care of that, because if it's monotonous and it doesn't require having much brain cells, a machine's gonna be able to do it.
Bro, I remember a funny story. I was actually in LA. I think I was visiting you, but we were definitely hanging out there. And I saw an autonomous like food delivery cart on wheels for the first time. And you gave me the whole breakdown. And then you followed it up with, yeah, they haven't figured out how to keep the bums out of, like AI didn't know how to keep the bums out of breaking into them shits.
Crowbarring them open, kicking them over, yeah. That little autonomous vehicle had to deal with reality for like a year.
Yeah, I mean, we say it jokingly, but that's the difference, right? Like, you can program AI to do all these monotonous jobs that people don't want to do, until you need a human element. You need a control for a human element that you didn't factor for, right?
Exactly, bro.